Before we get started on this brand new summer episode of the Homeschool Show, I want to give you some important news and an opportunity. You may have already heard that a bill was passed this year in Connecticut that would require homeschool families to have a background check before they're allowed to homeschool. Connecticut, before this, was a pretty free state to homeschool in. The Homeschool Legal Defense Association called this the first regression of homeschool freedom in the modern homeschool movement. Ever since they started fighting and the state organizations together started fighting for freedom, we've only been increasing our freedom. Now there are organizations working hard to increase government oversight over home education. So we see this as a defeat and a move in the wrong direction. This is going to embolden these organizations to target other states. We want to let you know that North Carolinians for Home Education is working here diligently to make sure that the homeschool laws here remain friendly and free for you. And we are beginning this week a homeschool freedom campaign, which means we are asking you to support NCHE and our legislative efforts by donating. We are a nonprofit and we depend on your generous gifts to continue our mission. So if you value homeschool freedom in North Carolina and you want us to continue our work in Raleigh to influence our legislators to keep homeschooling free in North Carolina, then please consider giving today. You can go to nche.com/join and be one of 125 donors to reach our goal. Thank you so much for considering this and enjoy the episode.
All right, here we are. It is summer, and I'm Amanda Wares, your host. This is the Homeschool Show for North Carolinians for Home Education. I have with me my co-host, Melanie Willis.
Hi there. It was great to see everybody at the homeschool conference. We had a wonderful time, and I've heard lots of great comments. So I think we had a great Thrive this past year. We did a lot of sitting down and talking to people at Thrive, and you sat down with a couple, Stephen and Jean Marie Lee, and just had a conversation really about why they are homeschooling and how it all kind of came about, because they didn't plan on it necessarily and even tried to move away from it, but kept coming back. So we're going to listen to that interview. And I think that it will encourage those of you that are thinking and considering about this being that year that you start homeschooling. And so afterwards, we're going to talk a little bit about what it looks like to get started homeschooling. Then we're going to talk about what it looks like if you're moving into a next phase of homeschooling. Maybe this year is high school, and that can feel a little different, and you've got lots of questions about that. So we're going to talk about that, and then we are going to talk about our new updated mentor page on the website, because lots of you may want to look at getting on there and choosing one of us as a mentor so that you can get all these new questions answered. So, Amanda, let's listen to your interview.
Absolutely. Let's check it out. Okay, Stephen and Jean Marie Lee are here with me. We're going to talk a little bit about what brought you to homeschooling, what brought you to the Thrive conference, and just introduce yourselves a little bit and tell us, how did you first come to Thrive?
So my name is Stephen, and this is my wife, Jean Marie. We've been married since 2009. Our oldest is 14. He's a rising high schooler this year.
Oh,
And her and I were both public schooled. So that's the traditional track we thought we were going to go with.
Yeah.
We just assumed that was how we were going to raise our kid. And then we got involved in a church in Durham where there was a lot of homeschoolers, kind of got first exposure there of the homeschooling idea, kind of entertained it, fell in love with it. And then we still didn't know where she was going to land with her career. She was a
Right.
therapist, getting her license.
Yeah.
So we didn't know if she wanted to continue to pursue that or be a stay-at-home mom. My mom was a stay-at-home mom. Her mom was too. So that was obviously a track we wanted to go with. We didn't know where we were going to land. So we decided to get her therapy license so wrapped up while she had the chance to do that. And then the school question entered in our minds as our oldest was getting to the kindergarten age. We did preschool. And then in 2016, some good friends of ours, the Townsends, who Jeff and Cindy had served on the board for a while, they homeschooled their son, Casey Samuel, and their daughter. We got to know their daughter-in-law, Casey Lauren. And so her and my wife came in 2016 to the homeschool conference. Wow. And that was a pivotal year where we had to, so my son was going into kindergarten that year. We'd already signed him up.
Lexi was 1.
Lexi
we had a 1-year-old.
Okay, yeah, Lexi was 1.
Wow.
And so, she had finished up your license, right, and had stepped away from work because that check mark was done. And she came here. We just with her and her friend Casey, and I guess you can go through that portion of how that was. It was free at that time for a kid or for a family if their oldest kid was 5 or under,
right?
So that we fit in that bill. So it was free for us. The financial commitment wasn't there, at the time. And then you came here.
Yeah, the building was under construction, so the vendors were scattered throughout everywhere, and so they gave us a note card and said, if you can go to all of these places, you can win a conference package. You can go in a drawing to win a conference package for the next year.
Yes.
So I worked very diligently because I was like, okay, if I'm ever going to get my husband to make the financial commitment to check out this conference, Lord, you're going to have to provide this in some crazy fun way. So I worked through the days, and then I submitted my card at the end.
Yeah.
And then that was that. And then at the end of the summer, I get a call from Spencer Mason that says, you won the conference package. So the next year, we were able to come with the conference package and the hotel room and all the things paid. And so my husband joined me that year.
Yes.
Saw the benefits. We were both greatly encouraged. And we have been every year since.
That's amazing. I love it. And so what keeps you coming back? Yeah. Because now it's been, I guess, 2016. So this is 2026. So 10 years, right?
So for me, 2017, that was a pivotal year as well for us because we had our son. We had lost a daughter in between him and then our daughter that we have now, Alexis. And then we were pregnant with twins. In that when we came in May of 2017, she was very pregnant with twins.
Oh, wow.
That we would eventually have in September of that year. But, obviously with twins, you show and carry a lot earlier than others. But so she was very pregnant with twins in 2017. And so I went on night shift. Yeah, I started a job at a power plant.
Yes.
I was on night shift, and a lot of people are affected by sleep differently. I'm very sensitive to sleep. And so the sleep deprivation, it was a rough, dark season for us.
Sure.
Having twins, me being on night shift.
Yeah.
Me being kind of disconnected from the family.
Yes.
It was homeschooling. Most of my employees, they had a nice, quiet house to go home to and rest. The wives worked and their kids went to public school.
Right.
So they had a nice, quiet home to go and rest in. Mine was
so
not.
Bunkers.
Yeah, mine was not that experience.
Yes.
So it was a transition. It was a challenge. It was tough. But the thing that kept me, or the thing I experienced in 2017 at the conference is what still gets me to come back every year. And that is that homeschooling is not about academics or curriculum, which is what we thought. We came here to learn about academics, curriculum. How can we get rigor in this? It was all about relationships and Jesus and making that the priority, and how everything else will flow from that. The academics will come, the relation or everything they need to learn will come.
Right.
But making the relationship the priority, making God the priority.
Yes.
And just enjoying the time that you have, that it's a gift, and being involved, and it's hard work. And we shouldn't there's certain things we shouldn't farm out in schooling. And we're still not advocates solely for homeschooling. A lot of people are. We still respect public school decisions, private school decisions. We understand that. But we felt called to it.
Yeah.
And it's not for convenience.
Right.
And we didn't do it. It's definitely not cheap, right? There's a financial commitment there that's greater than a public school option for us. So it's not for you to just rest back and let them do whatever. There is rolling up a sleeves and getting dirty. And we enjoy that. And we know that there's benefit from that. And we see it now, but in the early years, we didn't necessarily see it because we would sign every year come February. That January, February time is so rough for homeschoolers.
It's so hard.
hard for us.
Yeah.
And every year we would enroll our oldest in charter school every year.
Every year.
And we would get the confirmation. We're like, all right, cool. We got a plan for the fall. And then May would come around and we'd come here to the homeschool conference and be so encouraged, so uplifted, just get into a different headspace and get a fresh vision and a break.
Yes.
And then we would tear our application up, say we're not doing it, and go for it another year. And it took 3 or 4 years of that, right?
Yes.
And
And we really
And
got
now
in
we're
our
like,
rhythm.
now it's not a question. You know, we understand we're going to do it. And we understand it's hard. We're going to push through. But it took a long time for us to really commit to the homeschooling and feel like it was part of our DNA, you know, as a family.
Yeah, that is awesome. All right. Do you have anything else you want to add to tell all of our
What do you
watchers
like?
and listeners out there? What is your favorite thing about Thrive? What do you like?
My favorite thing about Thrive, I think, is the brain space that it gives us. We try to be pretty intentional to come and take the time to sit in on the seminars, but then take time to think about them. And,
Yes.
you know, see if there's any application points. So it's been for me just a mental reprieve and kind of a reset. You know, where are we at in our discipleship of our family? Where are we at with all the pieces?
That's beautiful.
So it just gives us that pause to recharge and refocus. So keep coming back.
Yeah.
We love it.
Yeah. And we are so thankful for you and families like you. And that is such a neat story. I love that. We had a very similar in my own family that I came by myself the first year. And then my husband came the next year. And we have never missed since then. We're at 21 years.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, absolutely.
That's
but
cool.
it changed
It sucks you in.
the
and
course
once you
of our family. They did. Absolutely. So I love your story. That is amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah,
Thanks for
letting
sitting
me
down with me. I
Yeah,
appreciate
for
it.
sure.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Have a good day.
I had so much fun sitting down with them. They are just a lovely couple to talk to anyway. And it is so fun to hear from someone that, you know, maybe when they started out, they didn't always think, oh, we're going to homeschool, you know, and they weren't sure. They came to the conference kind of unsure of, are we going to do this? Are we not? And I just love their story and their journey and how much of a part that Thrive and NCHE has been able to have in their journey. I think that's really special.
Yes. You know, because I talk a lot now. I didn't when I first started homeschooling, but now about the why. And then I think it's important for everybody to ask themselves, what is your why for homeschooling? And they kind of figured out their why in a all around the block kind of way. And I love how he defined homeschooling. I know he mentioned that it was, you know, that life together and sharing the gospel with them. And then all the other things would just fall into place. And a lot of times, especially I think when we're getting overwhelmed with homeschooling, it's really good to think about that it's all going to fall into place.
I know another thing is whenever he was talking about getting started and worried about the financial aspect of homeschooling. And I know a lot of people, I have talked to families in the last year that maybe mom or dad, either way, had a full-time job and they were going to have to change that somewhat to homeschool. And so then they're concerned about the finances. And that's a real concern. And I understand that. But I always tell people you can homeschool for as little as, you know, a library card and as much as you can really think of. You know, you can spend as much as a private school tuition, but you don't have to. There are options all along the way. There's so many free options these days, and then all the way up, you know. So definitely don't let the financial burden keep you from considering homeschooling for your family.
Because I think that you're going to, if you talk to, you know, 4 different people about the expenses, you're going to get 4 totally different answers. And I know some years I've spent more than others. And, you know, I have a little bit more experience. So I know now I don't necessarily want this whole teacher's kit. And I don't have to spend as much for some curriculums. And sometimes I don't need a curriculum at all. But I will say they haven't ever sent kids to public school. And I did. And so I have a little bit of experience with it's not free. There's always something to send money in for. If it's lunches, it's hard to always make their lunch. I tried, really did. Or, field trips, different things. They've got fundraisers. There's just always expenses involved. Even once they get to high school, then you got to pay to get into games. It's just all kinds of stuff. So it really does. I think it balances out. I don't think that you should look at homeschooling from an expense perspective.
Absolutely. And then there's always, what you get out of it is so much more. You can't really put a price tag on all those things.
My thoughts exactly. There's nothing, you can't get back that time spent with your children because it goes so much faster than you think it's going to go. And then it's just over.
Right.
And I'm so thankful that I had all that extra time spent with them, that they didn't go off to another building somewhere away from me. I just, that's priceless. Absolutely.
Absolutely.
So, Amanda, talking to people that this is their very first year homeschooling, or they're still even considering, what am I going to do? What do you have to say to those parents that are considering starting homeschooling?
Usually, I just say, you can do it. You can do it. There are so many resources out there to help you. We at NCHE have a tremendous amount of resources available for free. There are people out there to support you. It is not as hard or as daunting as you think it is. And really, as far as the legal process, I know I've had a lot of questions about that recently. Is it too late? When can I do it? And all of that? Absolutely not. And right now, you cannot file a notice of intent as we are recording this episode, but soon the DMPE will open up their window to receive notices of intent. I think it's July the 6th, either the 6th or the 8th. I can't remember which one, but early July it will open up again and you'll be able to file your notice of intent. And again, you can find all of that information on our website, nche.com/helps. There's getting started. And then if you go to the second option under getting started, opening your school, there's a video there that I made of me filling out the notice of intent in real time. So there's so much there to help you. Please take advantage of it. But yeah, absolutely. Just go for it. You will not regret it.
It's not as daunting a process as you would think. And if you do visit the website and just look at that information, you'll feel comfortable then going in and registering your homeschool. I will say, think long and hard about what you want to name your homeschool. As we have discussed many times on here, once you choose that name, that is the name you have forever and ever. I learned that the hard way. My homeschool name says seaside in there somewhere, and I now live in the mountains. So there you go. We just have a second edition of the school.
That's right.
So now there are lots of people that have already started homeschooling, but this is their their first year doing high school. And that can seem really daunting. So let's talk about moving into high school.
Yes. I love this. This is one of the workshops that I do at Thrive pretty much every year. It is one of my kind of favorite topics now that I have done it a few times, graduated a few people from high school. And I always say there were 2 times in my homeschool journey that I freaked out. One was when we were first starting. And the second was when my oldest daughter was going into high school. It does. It feels scary. I understand. And because you, as a homeschool teacher, you are the teacher, you are the guidance counselor, you're all the things. And that can feel like a lot. But ultimately, you can do it. We are here to help you. There's so many resources out there. And what I always try to emphasize is, in reality, going from, the last day of 8th grade to the first day of 9th grade, homeschooling it's not different. The process of homeschooling your why is not different. Your child is still your child. You are still you. We think it has to be something totally different, but it doesn't. Really, the only difference is record keeping. And because you want to have the ability to give your child a transcript, and you want to be able to have all their credits, recorded, and their grades and all of that, you want to keep records. I've talked on here before ninth grade, I really don't give my kids grades. I don't find it necessary or really helpful because it's me and them. I know very well what they understand or don't understand. And so the grades don't tell me anything I don't already know. But in high school, I do start to give grades and keep those records so that whatever they end up needing or wanting to do after high school, they're prepared to do that and they have what they need record wise to be able to do that.
Right.
But ultimately, the actual process of homeschooling is not different. It's still you, it's still your child. You're still going to teach them, or have them take a class or whatever it is. I think we have in our mind that it has to be this totally different thing, and it just doesn't.
Right. Right. Well, and so you can download from the NCHE website under helps and high school in there is the transcript. And you download that and you fill it out and it has all the math problems already in there for you so that you don't have to figure out GPA or anything like that. And what I've found is you really want to do that as you go along each step of the way. Add those classes because when you have to go back and fill in a couple of years and remember everything, it can be a little bit more time consuming. I can tell you from experience. And the other thing that I have found is that when you have this transcript and you start adding in the things, it is something that you can show a student and they can see, this is what I've done. This is what I've left to do. Because sometimes even for the students, this switch into high school can seem like I'm just never going to be done and it's going to be too hard and there's too much. And when you actually show them, hey, this is what you've got to do, all of a sudden it's not a lot and the end is near and it's kind of scary that the end is near. So it's a really great thing to use, not just to keep track of everything, but to kind of show your student things are coming to an end and things are getting important for you to think about what the future might look like, which is kind of also scary. I remember being 17 and having to tell a college counselor, this is what I want to do with my life.
Yes.
How many people at 17 really know what they want to do with their life?
No idea.
So,
Exactly.
Taking it with a grain of salt.
Exactly. I was just talking to my husband about that last night. In fact, we were coming home from a trip, so we were talking and we were talking about that. I think neither one of us really we were not homeschooled, obviously, and we didn't have somebody to sit down and kind of help us navigate that,
Right.
And like I picked my major in college off a list almost randomly. And, he kind of did the same thing. He went into the military and because he wanted to go into the military, but he didn't feel like he had guidance really. So that's another blessing of homeschooling that you can be right there and walk with your student, with your young adult through this process. And I think that's beautiful. But yeah, I think the expectation that we have that these 17, 18-year-olds are going to know what they want to do for the rest of their life, how is that realistic,
But the good part of homeschooling is that a lot of times they can focus more on the things they're really interested in.
Yes.
And with that and God just helping us land where we need to land, even if that's going to college and choosing something that maybe isn't really what was meant for you, it's all part of the process. It's all going to get us
Absolutely.
where we need to be. And so on both of these subjects, getting started homeschooling and moving into high school, I really recommend one that you visit the website and look at what is there, especially in under that help section. And then two, go to YouTube and look at all these past episodes of the Homeschool Show that we have. And when you look at the thumbnail of each one, you can see the topics that we cover. we go much more in depth on all of these topics multiple times. And we probably say different things that we forget to say each time. And so if you watch some of those, you'll see more and more things that I think can help you to just take a breath and relax and feel confident in teaching your children and spending that time with them. And so then
100%.
one last thing before we leave is that the website does have so much, and being a member comes with free mentor sessions. And over the past couple of months, the mentor page has been updated. And it's just wonderful because you can actually choose things that you're interested in, and it will kind of tell you the best mentor on the page that you should talk to in order to talk about different subjects. And so, Amanda, do you want to address that a little bit? That's kind of your area.
I love it. I'm so excited about the kind of revamp of our mentor page. We've added some new mentors to our team. And so we just have a great kind of robust team of mentors that have experience in getting started in homeschooling young preschool and young elementary. We have Spanish speaking mentors. We have special needs focus. We have single parents, people that have experience in homeschool leadership. So if you are a leader in a co-op or a group and you need some help with that or some guidance or encouragement, we have mentors for you for that. And really everything, high school, just the whole gamut. And when you think about, okay, I want help with whatever it is, you can click on those things and it will pull up the mentors that is their kind of focus or their area that they're really experienced in. And every single one of our mentors would love to help you. It's, a video chat, so you get to see them face to face. And I have done a lot of mentor sessions. I know you have as well, Melanie, and it's really wonderful. I think everybody that I've talked to, I think it's been helpful to be able to just sit down with somebody and answer their questions. They can ask whatever that is on their mind, on their heart, and get their questions answered as best we can. And sometimes if in that moment I don't have all the resources gathered, I might say, hey, let's do this again, and I'll do some homework and then we'll get back together and do another mentor session. Because like Melanie said, depending on your level of membership, you either get one at the essentials level of membership, you get one mentor session free with that membership per year, or at the higher level, you get 3 mentor sessions. And of course, you can always add more and pay for those, but with your membership, you can just keep going. And I have so enjoyed the process of walking with some families through their homeschool journey. It's really been a joy for me and for our whole team. So please check that out and take advantage of it. If you're a member, I hope you are a member. If you're not, you can join. And that's one of the perks that you'll get with that.
That's very good. So I guess that is all we have for today, Amanda.
Awesome. All right, guys. We say this every time, but really it does help us. Like, subscribe, share with your friends. Do you have somebody in your life that is on the fence? They're considering homeschooling, they're not sure. Or maybe one of the parents wants to homeschool and the other one's not too sure, like our couple in our interview. That would be helpful for them. Do you know somebody that is thinking about getting started and they need some information about that, or transitioning to homeschooling high school? Do you know somebody that needs a mentor, needs somebody to walk with them through this process of homeschooling? Please share this with them. It helps them and it helps us. It really does every single time. So I hope you guys are having an awesome summer so far. And as always, keep homeschooling with confidence and joy. Until next time, bye-bye.